6 different ways to use Instagram TV or IGTV for your business. And I touched a little bit on this last week, but basically Instagram TV or IGTV, as it's most commonly known, is a way to share longer form video content on your account. So if you have anything that won't fit in stories or is too long for a reel or for your feed, that's where you want to go and have your content live. So for today, I want to talk about some practical ways that you can use IGTV for your business and for marketing. If you want to learn more about the history of it or how exactly to upload videos, I have a few informational things on my website under the resources tab. So go to resources, the fix, and then one of the most recent blog post will have some information about that and links to specific tutorials on that. So definitely check that out. But for the most part, I'm sure if you just start exploring with it, you will pick it up really quickly. So the 6 different types of content I want to talk about today are repurposing older content or other content, creating a series show or an episodic type of show for Instagram TV, sharing tutorials about a product or even about a service, using it to share live videos, which we talked about a little bit last week, hosting an interview, and also showcasing your customer stories. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of those in depth, and hopefully they will spark some ideas and inspire you about what kind of videos you can create. All right, so first up, let's talk about repurposing your content. So like I mentioned, IGTV allows you to share longer form content. So this could be up to 60 minutes of Instagram content. Now, consider also that most people are going to be on their phones when they're watching this. So while you can upload 60 minutes, it is not necessarily the most advisable amount of time to upload that kind of content. You are likely going to want to stick to no more than 30 minutes and that kind of stuff. So this is where if you, for example, host any kind of like YouTube channels, or if you want to do just longer form video content. So for example, I could take these webinars and put them on Instagram TV because they typically end up to be anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes, depending upon how many questions we have, all that fun stuff. So someone who does this really well is Gary Vee. I highly recommend checking out any of his content. He's just very well known in the business arena in general. He is a machine and he has a big team. So don't think that you have to create the same level and type of content that he's creating. But if you want to see how he repurposes content, he's a great example about how to do that. So he has a lot of content that he'll create and then he'll repurpose it for all different types of platforms, which is what allows him to literally post multiple times a day. But again, he also has a big team. So don't feel like you have to follow him exactly, but he's a good inspirational, aspirational kind of account to follow. Forewarning though, he does have a bit of a sailor's mouth. And so if you are around kids or something like that, just be mindful of that. But I really like to watch his videos. So that's one thing that you can do with repurposing your content. You could also take a blog that you write and repurpose it into a video. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be on camera. It could be using a tool like Canva to create slides or to create engaging content that people can read that takes your blog and just shortens it down into something that's more manageable, or just a new way to use it. So a lot of different things that you could do there. You could create a video where you take your blog content and you essentially use that to outline what you're going to say in a video. That can also be super helpful. And again, these don't have to be 30-minute long videos. They could be 5 minutes. They could be 2 minutes, just something that isn't necessarily going to fit within the realms of other pieces of the Instagram platform. And then the third idea here, which I also left an E out of create. So you can create an audiogram of a podcast episode. So let's say you have a podcast, or maybe you're on podcast episodes often. You can take that audio and use something like Headliner, which is a software, and create really wonderful videos that essentially will take the audio and put it with this like wave icon that I put in here. So people can, a lot of times, and it will go with the actual audio, and you can use different graphics, or you could even have that audio going over other visual like video items and things like that in the background. But that's another thing that you can use if you have something that maybe, you want to share a minute and a half, 2 minutes of your podcast episode or the whole thing, but it's not going to fit on your IG platform. So that's definitely a few ways that you can repurpose your content, and you can get really creative. Like maybe there's other videos that you're creating on other platforms and you want to find a way to share them on Instagram. You can definitely do that here. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do and get creative with the content you're already creating. The second thing is to create a exclusive series. So this could be episodic, this could be talking, kind of building on one another, but something that you're only offering on Instagram. So people have to come to IGTV to watch your episodes, to watch your content, whatever it is. So for example, maybe you do like a cooking show. And so you'll record the cooking show, but instead of putting it on YouTube or somewhere else, you're just going to have it live on your Instagram account. Maybe you do book reviews, or you like to do some type of educational video, anything like that, where you want to have it shared with your audience. By creating this exclusivity on Instagram, there's that scarcity, right? So it's not that I can't go to just any platform. I have to be on Instagram. If I want to see from you consistently, and when you're on there, I'm going to want to follow you, right? So that could also be another way to get people to follow your account, is if you're putting really great content out there just on Instagram, and so they have to follow along there. But this could also be a way to just create some anticipation, to use that account and to really get in front of more people, right? So as you're posting these, even if people aren't following you, but they're on Instagram, your video might pop up on their explore page, or maybe you promote it with, a little bit of a post boost or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use that kind of content to really get people to notice you, to follow you, and to learn from you. And so ideally, they'll then want to either work with you by hiring you based on your services, or maybe you have a product that you're promoting in these, and then they will go and purchase. So there's a lot of cool things, but by having an exclusively IGTV series, you can create a lot of hype around that particular item. So that's another thing that you could do. All right, the third piece is to do tutorials and how-tos. So again, this is really, really great if you have a product, but even if you have a service, you can talk about how you work with your clients or how you approach different tasks or challenges. But if you have a product, these are really great so that you could focus on the specific things that you want to make sure your clients or your customers understand about your product. So maybe there's a feature of your product that's really, really cool and interesting, or maybe you're even finding that there's a feature of your product that a lot of people are misunderstanding. By creating these tutorials and sharing it once, or even doing them on a regular basis, you can show people exactly how to use and interact with your products and your business in the way that you want them to. And they may even find that, oh, wow, this is something I never even thought of, or you're explaining the solution to a problem I didn't even know existed. And I know that I actually have that problem, and now you have the solution. I want to go check it out. So there's a lot of opportunity there as well. And how-to videos are also really great. The question I kind of ask myself for these types of videos is, what is the most important feature or part of your business that you want clients and customers to understand? What is it that sets you apart? What is it that is really going to help people to understand who you are, what you're offering, and why they should work with you? And if you can explain that in these tutorials or how-to videos, that's another great way to connect with people and really make the most of your content. So definitely check out that. If you have a product, highly, highly recommend this as well. All right. The next one is to do a live video share. So I touched on this a little bit last week as well, but I want to kind of reiterate and give you some ideas here. And of course, if you have questions, I'd love to answer them. So if you want to really create content that you can use for a lot of different things, doing a live video on Instagram is a great way to do that. So for example, maybe you want to do an interview or do a Q&A with people, right? So you can do that live and then take that video that you've recorded and share it as an IGTV. So I like to do this a lot with or it could even be like a live tutorial or Q&A, but I like to do those kinds of things where it's interactive on live, and so that the audience can really engage. And so maybe it's just sitting down and you already have some prepared questions that people get a lot, and so you have questions to answer. But then you can host a live video. And as you're talking through those questions and answering them, other questions might arise from your audience that they will then ask and you can answer. And it'll create this long video or longer video than just a short clip that you can take and then repost on your Instagram as an IG live video, or I'm sorry, an IGTV video. So those two go really well hand in hand. The key here is when you finish your Instagram live video to make sure that you download it to your phone. I like to do that just in case. You can always save it to your profile, but I like to make sure it's on my phone so that if I do want to edit it or tweak it or add any branding or things like that, that's super helpful. But taking the time to take that live video and then repurpose it into an IGTV video is a great way to make the most of that content and to really get to utilize all these different features of Instagram, right? So you don't have to worry about having people join you somewhere else. They can already be on your Instagram. And then this too makes it easy to promote it, right? So if people missed your live video or weren't able to ask their questions, you can post that video and then say, hey, you know, join us for our next one at this time. Or if you missed it, here's what we talked about. And hopefully that'll inspire or at least generate some more interest. So more people will engage with you and they might even reach out to you and say, hey, you talked about this and you answered this question. This is a new question I have. Can you help me? And that's when you can say, of course, I offer, you know, free consultations, or for X amount of dollars, we can meet and talk about this for your business. Ideally, you're going to want to just go directly into that. Hey, this is how I work. Well, you know, this is consulting and blah, 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 blah. Or maybe it's about a product and you can say, you know, here's how you can order it and here's what our policies are. There's a lot of different ways that you can then engage with people, obviously, once they reach out and connect with you. So having something like a Q&A or a tutorial or something like that you do live can give you an opportunity to really engage with people in a way that you can't through other types of content. So definitely playing around with that idea. And you can always, you know, mix and match. Maybe you want to do a live video and then you're going to take that and you'll take the audio and make it into an audiogram. Like there's so many different things that you can do once you create that content. And of course, if you are maybe nervous and you feel like you don't perform your best live, start with just creating some pre-recorded content, right? And uploading that to Instagram TV and then playing around with some of these live videos. It could be that maybe you do a live at like 8 o'clock at night when maybe, you know, most people aren't going to be on there, but you can practice with it. You can get used to it, right? So everything will be a little bit uncomfortable when you first get started, but once you get some more practice and once you get really engaged, it will be a super helpful and easy way to connect with people on your Instagram. So definitely play around with that. All right, the next one is to host an interview and then post it to Instagram TV. Again, you could do this live or you could pre-record it. And so something really great about doing something like an interview with somebody either in your industry or you know, maybe you are a podcast host and you want to record that interview that you have with your guest. That can just be a really great way to kind of two birds, one stone, cover all your bases. But the other thing here too is when you invite someone else into these videos, they're more likely to, or they're likely to share it on their page, right? So you'll get to share it with your network and your following, but you'll also get to share it with the following of these, like this other person who may have followers that would never know about you some other way, that you don't have natural connections other than this person that you're interviewing. So taking the time to do that would be another great way to experiment and to connect with people and share your insights and your knowledge, to talk about things that you care about and to show your clients why they should work with you and what you can really bring to the table. Something I like to do too is just consider, you know, who are the people that would be inspirations to clients or to people that follow you. Sometimes, you know, someone's name will get people to be like, oh, well, I don't know who this person is, but I know the person they're talking to. Let me jump in and see what this is about. So if you have that, especially if you have people even just in your industry that you can talk to, listening into those conversations, even if you don't have a podcast, just having, you know, a conversation with somebody and then showing it on your Instagram TV can be a great way to just have a interesting piece of content that engages people in a new way without it having to be live, essentially. So a lot of cool things you can do with that as well. And I would experiment with that if I were you. It's something I definitely want to do more of for my business, but I've been helping some of my clients with some of these things. So it's fun to see how people respond to that when we post it. So I'm like, oh, I want to get in on this too. So definitely, if that's something of interest to you, I would highly recommend exploring it some more. All right. This next one is to showcase customer stories. So this could be, if you have a product and someone is sharing how much they love it, or if you have any kind of case studies that you're doing. Ideally, you would want to have your client or your customer be the one sharing or talking about something. But if not, you can take some of your case studies and, similar to what you would do with like a blog, you can repurpose it into a fun video that you can share on Instagram TV that really talks about and shows people what it is exactly that you do and how it impacted your client's business. Or if you have a product, why people love it, what they do with it, or even hacks that they have. I know that there's plenty of products and brands that I follow that it's so cool to see what customers will do and like the creative and inventive ways that they will even, increase the effectiveness of a product, right? It's like, I don't know, random things where you would never think to do that. And you're like, wow, that does make that bag easier to carry, or that is a cool, hack for using this particular type of cleaning product, whatever it is. So that's a really cool way to create some user-generated content, but also to really kind of just talk about your experience and expertise, but through the lens of your customers. So especially if you have a lot of case studies, this is a great way to just take what you already have and repurpose it. So definitely recommend trying those things out and seeing what happens. All right, the next thing before we get to the Q&A, so feel free to drop them in here in the meantime, is I have some really exciting news about my business and the webinars and all that kind of stuff. So I am creating a new platform for membership. So it's a WDS membership, and it is essentially taking these mini sessions and just making them even better and more effective for you. So I know a lot of people sign up for these sessions. We have like over 300 signups now, which blows my mind. I mean, it's super fun and exciting, and people will watch these recordings, but I will get feedback of people saying, oh, I watch these and I love what you're talking about, or I want to do everything you're saying, but I struggle to implement it, or I struggle to apply it directly to my business. And so it just got me thinking about how I could make this more effective, how I could help people who want to work on their business and market their business more. And so I created this membership. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about it. And then obviously if you have questions about it, I'm happy to answer them. But I've broken it down into these 3 different levels. So the bronze is access to all of the videos I've ever created over the past year and all the videos I will be creating. So I will still be creating these webinars, still be creating this kind of content, but it just won't be live anymore on webinars, because I know not everyone can meet on Thursdays at 4:30. So I thought, let me just make this, we'll post it up, and then people can watch it whenever they can or they're available to do so. And so you get access to those, and it's ongoing and it's super fun. And that's just $47 a month. And then silver is all of that. Plus I'm now creating a Mighty Network, which is similar to a Facebook group, but it's not on Facebook. So you don't get distracted by all the other things on Facebook. And there's just a lot of customization that we can do. So that is a product that I'm creating, and that is where we'll hold like monthly challenges. I'll share some monthly resources. So that could be templates that I'm using, that could be discounts on software that I've come upon, or like books that I really recommend, like pretty much anything that I can think of that would help you accomplish your goals. I want to give that to you. And it also offers that accountability piece. So it's a group where you can say, hey, I'm working on this, or, we're working through this challenge of creating 30 social media posts in 30 days. All of these kinds of things to really help you make sure that you're doing those things and you can connect with other people. And then the gold level is all of those things plus a monthly mastermind with me and other people who are working towards building their businesses and creating something incredible. And you also get access to an exclusive Mighty Network group. So within Mighty Networks, there's another smaller group for just the mastermind members where we can encourage one another and hold each other accountable as we're all working together to build our businesses and implement these things. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm looking forward to ideally helping more and more business owners really implement these things and do what they want to do and what they want to accomplish with their marketing tactics and with their bigger business goals. So I'll be sending out some more information about that shortly, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that because it means that June will be the last month that I'll be doing these webinars, but I know it's super fun to be able to engage and I don't want to miss out on these live opportunities. And so I will be instead moving to Wednesdays from 12 to 12:15 Eastern time. So you can grab your lunch and jump on Instagram with me. And I'll be doing live Q&A sessions about anything to do with marketing. So if you have questions or if you just want to see what other people are asking, you can join me there. It'll be every other Wednesday, and that'll be starting in July. So I will send plenty of updates about it and sharing more, but I wanted to give you guys just some of that kind of insider scoop on what I am working on and what will be coming up shortly. So the membership will be launching July 1st. So we still have 2 weeks, I believe, maybe 3. I think it's 2 weeks of these webinars. And then if you want to continue to access the recordings of these, you will have to become a member. Or if you want to just join me, on Wednesdays, you can do that as well. And of course, you can always reach out to me. I have guru hours with Hera Hub DC. And so those are every other Friday, and you can schedule some time and we can do a free consultation to talk about anything to do with your business for about 20 to 30 minutes. So plenty of opportunities to connect and to help you grow. And I'm really excited about that. So if you have questions or if you're interested and want to get a notification when it's all live, make sure to reply to me in the follow-up email this evening. So just wanted to update you guys on that. All right, now for your questions. What kind of questions do we have? Oh, I clicked ahead. Okay, so a couple questions here. What are some tools for creating tutorials or how-tos? That's a great question, Elizabeth. So I really love Canva. So I would say if you want to do something that's just written or like a simple presentation, I use Canva for that. I use Canva for this presentation and for the last, I don't know, many weeks. So that is one of my favorite tools. And you can even create it as a video right in there, and you can even have it put into the right dimension. So that is one of my favorite things to do. And then there's also ways like if you want to do tutorials, you could screen record your, what's the word I'm looking for? Screen record your laptop screen or your phone. So if you have an app that you want to give people a tutorial on or something like that, you can screen record what you're doing and then add a voiceover to it. And so for that, you could use anything like Splice is a good app for that. And then you could also just kind of talk. So like I use Loom for screen recording. And so I will just talk through that. That's how I do a lot of how-to tutorials for like my web design clients is I'll show them things and I'll use Loom. And so I can just kind of talk over it as I'm doing things and they can see what I'm doing. So those are a couple of my favorite tools to create tutorials or how-tos. Or if you just want to kind of talk through it, that is also a helpful way to do it. Great question. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have in here? If we don't have any more, that is cool as well. I know sometimes it's a lot of information to process. So if you have questions that come up, please feel free to email me. All right, so next week I'm going to be talking about Instagram highlights, and I'm really excited about those because I have been researching and experimenting with a lot of different things for Instagram highlights, and that is always super fun. Oh, Michelle had a quick question. Awesome. What do you use to record video and edit? So I will record on my computer. So if I'm like right now I'm recording with Zoom. So sometimes if I want to do something very specific, I'll use Zoom and I'll just start a meeting with like just me. And I'll just record myself talking through whatever it is. Loom. So there's Zoom and then there's Loom, Loom, that I like to use. And then a lot of times I'll just use like my phone. So, oh yeah, what about out and about, like lifestyle video? I just use my phone. Like, especially if you have an iPhone, they have made their cameras like a whole new level. So you could use your iPhone. If you have something like a GoPro, you could also use that if you wanted to do any kind of like lifestyle video. And if you want to get really like high level production, you could also look into hiring a videographer. And depending upon how much of a budget you have, you could hire someone who has years of experience, or you could look at working with someone who maybe is just starting out, and can kind of experiment with them. But yeah, a lot of my videos, I'll just use the technology that I already have with between my MacBook and my phone. It like pretty much covers all the bases. But I'm sure there's plenty of other cameras that you can use as well. But those are my go-tos. And then I really just use Canva, and what's the other one? iMovie to edit the videos. I also have a video editor that I use. So oftentimes now I will just send them over to her and give her some instructions. So if you have the opportunity to work with a video editor, I highly, highly recommend it. It's not that it's impossible to edit videos of your own, but if you're like me and details just can quickly become the biggest frustration. I'm a big picture person. I love to dream. And so sitting there trying to get the exact right setup drives me crazy. And so I hired out to someone and she does an incredible job and she turns it around so quickly. So if you're really going to invest in video, I highly recommend playing around with it, getting to know what you want to do, and then, contracting with somebody. I do have a couple people. So Michelle, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to connect you with some of the contractors I work with and recommend them to you, or you to them, vice versa. So, yeah, definitely just send me a quick email and I'll make sure to connect you guys. So those can be super, super helpful. But yeah, I would definitely work with a professional if you're, wanting to do video and invest in it, especially because the reality is you have other things to be doing in your business, right? There's so many things that we do. And sometimes there's the itty bitty things that you have to do because there's just, it's not within the, realities of your financial budget right now for you to hire it out. But some of these things are well worth it because if you can get it done right and get it done well the first time, it just helps you to continue to invest in your business. And ideally you'll be getting clients who are going to help pay for that. Right. So just some thoughts there. That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, if anyone wants to connect with some contractors about that, feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to connect you guys. So yeah, great questions. Love, love, love it. So yes, and like I said, next week, we're going to be talking about Instagram highlights. Those are going to be super fun. And then if you have any thoughts about what you want to learn in the future, so maybe, obviously these sessions will be ending at the beginning or at the end of this month. But for like the Q&As and stuff like that, if you ever have questions that you want answered, or if you ever want to learn about something in particular, please feel free to reach out and let me know. I'm more than happy to either point you in the right direction or cover that in a, upcoming Instagram Live or something like that. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. But that is all I have for you guys today. It is 5 o'clock, so I will let you go. But if you need anything, please reach out, let me know. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. All right, bye-bye.